Hey, what is happening, Impact Wrestling fans? Welcome to the Roberto's Wrestling YouTube channel. I hope you are doing well. Sorry about a little bit of a hiccup that I have when I started this live stream, so sorry about that. Things are not perfect here in my end of the woods. So this is obviously the post Slammiversary show, the Fallout show from the Slammiversary. And by the way, if this is your first time around here, make sure you subscribe. By the way, I just did a video about the Pentagon Junior Impact Wrestling team, so make sure you check it out. And a shout out to Tankia Godlow. He's already on the chat room, so you're a hero, my friend, by staying with me and waiting for me to get my stuff together. So let's review Impact Wrestling for a minute before we take a look at the chat room. So first thing first, we started with the Impact World Champion, none other than the Truth, Austin Aries, coming down obviously to the ring to cut a promo and brag about his victory on Slammiversary versus Moose. So his ego is, inflated, bigger than the earth itself, obviously. And now he got a new enemy, someone who is looking to regain the Impact World Champion, and his name is none other than Eddie Edwards. This is something that I was not expecting. I was either expecting them to put Moose once again versus Austin Aries, or put Brian Cage using the option C versus Austin Aries, and they will tease that feud in the near future. But they decided to take a left turn and put Eddie Edwards at the main event spot. This is the way it looks. So Eddie Edwards show up with the candlestick and he decided to attack Austin Aries. What are your thoughts on Eddie Edwards? Now all this suddenly once again into the main event scene, something obviously I don't think nobody else was expecting for the time being. Next, we got the first match of the night. This is, my league over there, the X Division. Since I am that same size as these people, right? Look at everybody. Everybody's small, including myself. So we got a Petey Williams, the Canadian Destroyer, versus the Bone Soldier Taiji Ishimori, with the referee being Ref Riley, Kid Ref. Good match. I like the chemistry between these two. This was more classic cruiserweight. If I will, that would be the best word to describe this match. This was more WCW-esque than your typical X Division style match. Either way, it was good. I like the finish that Taiji Ishimori used. He used basically like a jumping flatliner, but instead of doing like a face buster, he ended up like with his knees. So a move I haven't seen as long as I can remember, right? And obviously he won. So after the match, right, we got Taiji Ishimori winning. After the match, we got the Desi Hit Squad showing up and attacking Taiji Ishimori and Petey Williams. So I guess that might be the next feud going forward. Petey and Taiji versus the Desi Hit Squad, or Petey and Sonjay Dutt. That could be an interesting thing. I don't think Sonjay Dutt is ready. I think he still have his knee not 100%. But I think that should be something that could be interesting, since, Sonjay Dutt, accused Petey Williams of being the one attacking people backstage, but it ended up being Killer Cross. So that could be a nice little thing, when the Desi Hit Squad keeps hitting on Petey, then, his former friend Sonjay Dutt is the one that comes to the rescue, and then He asked for forgiveness the right way, not by talking your mouth, by obviously demonstrating that via actions, right? That is the way you should demonstrate forgiveness. Next, we got Alicia Atout. That's her last name. With Carelli, formerly known as Santino Marella, right? Let's address the elephant in the room because there's people that gonna be wondering what are my thoughts about Santino Marella in Impact Wrestling. I think it's a shame, right? I see Santino Marella basically in the same category as Tyrus, right? Tyrus is a dude who is 6'6", something along those lines. He's like 330, 340. He's a huge, huge dude. But his gimmick in World Wrestling Entertainment killed his possibility of being taken into the next level. He was seen forever as the dancing dinosaur, even though Tyrus was the security guard of Snoop Dogg. He was not some wacky guy on the streets. He was someone who you may not want to mess with. I think Santino Mirella, Mr. Carelli, suffered the same fate. Believe it or not, Mr. Carelli, he was a former MMA fighter. He's not a dude you can mess with or anything along those lines. He's a guy that you start messing with him, he's gonna punch you in the mouth. But guess what? Uncle Vince over there decided to make him like the wacky guy with like a snake as a sock and blah 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 or the other wacky stuff that they did. There's no way to fixing this guy. I'm sorry. And I know they wanna, play with the guy and, hire him and use him. And I have no problem with that. But it is a tough sell selling him as a legend guy after we saw him 4 years as the comedy guy. And I don't think there's any fixing in Santino Marella. I don't think there's any fixing. And I think, and I'm gonna go even further, I think Mr. Don Callis is booking this guy. Why? Because I think he might see that as a challenge. Hey, I'm gonna prove to the world that I am, a better booking than everybody else think, and I'm gonna, try to refix this guy and try to make him like at least a legit trainer and something like that. I think you're, fighting against the current, fighting against the heel. That's not a good idea, especially when you're trying to rebuild a brand. You could rebuild your guys first. Don't rebuild somebody else's guy who there might be no fix for him. And it is tragic, right? Because the guy is legit, but there's no way you can overcome being Santino Marella. I'm sorry about that. But Austin Aries show up and he start. Obviously, he have his ego being huge because he was able to beat Moose, who another big guy. And obviously, Austin Aries started to mess with Santino Marella. And when Santino said, hey, I got a broken neck. I cannot, go into a fight with you. But I'm living through this guy. This guy is my trainee. And if you keep messing around with me, you keep running your mouth, I'm gonna, train this guy. This guy is a puppy, but, I'm gonna train him to beat you up since I cannot do that. So, this is interesting because we already thought we will have like a clear direction for Austin Aries at the beginning of the show with Eddie Edwards versus Austin Aries. But now we have this dude that I totally forgot his name with Santino on his corner versus Austin Aries. I think they are basically having a dual direction for Austin Aries. That's interesting. I haven't seen that in quite a while, especially in American wrestling. When it comes down to the main event telling, there's usually one storyline happening at a single time. Next we got a knockouts match. Tessa Blanchard, she's the favorite of a lot of people, versus Rebel. Oh, and I know Jorge have had a lot of fun meeting Rebel. She seems to be like a sweetheart, stuff like that. She's like a nice person actually in real life. So that's good hearing about that. But tonight it was not her night. She took a L to Miss Tessa Blanchard. Not nothing a match to write about or to look online or anything like that. It was a regular TV match. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to also to get excited about. And the right person won. Tessa Blanchard is still pushing her, and I think that she's gonna be the next one fighting for the belt as long as Su Young loses that title. Next we got, I'm gonna butcher. Sorry about this. I'm gonna butcher her last name, so I'm not gonna even try. She's Scarlett. So she was being interviewed by Alicia, and she started obviously to buck her down, like saying, "Hey, I am a 10. You, Alicia, you're a 5 at best," and blah blah blah. It was funny, and the people at Twitter getting triggered by that. Oh my god, how dare you make fun of Alicia, bro? That's part of the fun. That is a clash of a style. You got Alicia, more of a girl next door, versus the uber supermodel in Scarlet. That's a little bit of a knock into the interview, and something that might be a lost art in pro wrestling, especially during the very old days, the golden age, when you saw a lot of wrestlers attacking Mean Gene. Something that garners a lot of hate or sympathy for wrestlers. That's a good tool that haven't been used in quite a while. So I like this underlying theme of this one. Next we got Trevor Lee finally once again on television. Holy cow, it has been a while, for like six weeks since we haven't seen Trevor Lee. So he was facing Johnny Impact. So you already know who's winning this one, right? Johnny Impact, that is his first match on Impact TV. Back, right? Easy win for him. Obviously, Trevor Lee is a good dancing partner for everyone, including people in the heavyweight division or the X division, or someone in between, like Johnny Impact. That is his value. So don't lose him in Impact Wrestling. Johnny Impact won, right? After that, he took the mic and he cut a promo on Jimmy Jacobs and Congo Kong, because all the trash they have been talking about Johnny Impact in quite a while. So he decided to, put that into the ether. So that feud is gonna be reheating hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Johnny Impact versus Congo Kong. Are you guys looking for that feud? Let me know in the comment section. I'm not sold either way. I'm like 50-50. Maybe you can change my mind or something along those lines, because a smart person should be able to obviously change his mind when there's new evidence coming forward, right? Next we got this segment. I find it so hilarious. I'm gonna explain that a little bit later on. We got Ali with Alicia having an interview talking about Su Young. She's tired of seeing Su Young doing all the stuff she's doing in the knockouts division, and then choking the school teacher Madison Rain at Slammiversary, and blah blah blah. And she might have fear, but she's not going there alone. And then Miss Hogan decided to show up, like to be a helping hand to Ali into confronting the evil Su Young. I was watching this segment, right? And you know what this segment remind me of? It remind me of the video game Left 4 Dead. I don't know if you guys ever played that game, where you got like a lot of zombies over the place, but you got like a very clean cut person trying to fix the world, and it sounded like that, like, oh, the world is full of Su Young, and I am the only one that might have to go along. Let me see if I can find a partner. Also have like a little bit of a video game, you know, topic to him. She even sounded like, what is the name of the game? Zelda, like Link. She sounded like a line that Link was saying, like one of those Nintendo video games. So I was laughing for the not the right reasons, but I did enjoy it, and it is something obviously that people could get behind. Why? Because Ali have always portrayed herself as a girl next door, someone who you might be a little bit shy, but she's willing to put up a fight against bad people. So this has his whole cuteness about it. Next, we got a segment that had me laughing for a while, because not for the right reasons, right? You got Joe Hendricks near Katarina, and we got this guy Grado, right? And former Impact World Champion decided to show up, Eli Drake, and he bought a gift for Joe Hendricks, Katarina, and Grado. And Grado decided to open the gift, and the gift was a picture, a crop picture of Joe Hendricks and Katarina. So basically, Eli Drake is saying, "Hey Grado, you're a cock." So I was laughing, obviously, because it is a topic that there's gonna be people that might not be behind it, but it is funny, obviously, taking advantage of Grado. And I know there might be some people even sharing for Eli Drake. Why? Because Grado kind of took advantage of ALBN, if you were to think about it rationally, right? So it is what it is, and life is a boomerang. Sometimes you're at the top of the wheel, sometimes you're at the bottom, right? This time you're the cockhole. Grado. Oh boy. Next we got another comedy segment back to back. We got KM and Fala Bob. They were like walking into the highway hallway of the Rebel complex right there on Canada. We got KM and Falaba, and there were people like watching them talk, and KM was being just a total asshole and a bully, and taking people's like cell phones, and hiding them inside the trunks of Falaba. They're hiding them in a very warm place. Taking people's sunglasses and shit like that. It was a fun little segment. They're trying to reheat KM with the former, like, "you're calling me a liar" type of segments, trying to put more character into KM, especially by shooting something backstage. By the way, another thing that I might need to put them over. This is a segment that you are not gonna see anywhere else, at least on a weekly basis. This is something kind of new. I know this might have been done somewhere in an indie, but this is not something that have been beaten to death. Just a little bit of a different way to shooting a wrestling promo. That is something that I like. I want to keep Impact Wrestling fresh. That is what makes me tune in every single weekend. Do a review every single week. right? Next we got, look at this guy's face, very lovely. You might not want to hang around with this dude. We got Killer Cross, who by the way is gonna, he's scheduled to do something with my other podcast, the Impact Bodega. So he's in line for doing something with us in the near future. So basically they did his promo. By the way, the production value of this promo was on point, kind of like a scary serial killer type of vibe into it. So now, I guess he's gonna be wrestling, I guess next week if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully he already wrestled Petey. Now they might need to do something with him. Who could you think could come? Who do you think should be the a good first long term dancing partner to Killer Cross? Who do you think would match his intensity? I don't have no one in mind. If you have any idea, let me know, because this guy is good, but I haven't find a good dancing partner for a while, unless you would bring someone like Joseph Park or something like that. But I think we already saw that with Congo Kong. So maybe rehashing something like that, but I don't see a clean cut like dancing partners to Killer Cross evilness. Next we got the OGC 730 cutting a promo, basically, bragging that they have the tag team belts. Kingston say, hey, this goof, this LAX goof and Conan, they thought because they won the battle at Slammiversary, they thought they won the war. They after they thought they beat us, they started to celebrate. That's a big mistake. We beat them up after the match, and then we took the belts away from them and we tagged them. Therefore, those belts belong to us forever. That was obviously a good promo by Eddie Kingston, and keeping the idea of LAX versus the OG coming into the future. The match that I want to see is LAX versus the OG in a little lockdown match. Maybe you could add Conan, you could add Eddie Kingston, and get the girls, get Diamante, get Ivelisse. They could do a intergender type of thing, or you could have the girls outside. You could do many different things when it comes down to that match. But I think that match could be good. Obviously, by being a cage match, you can safeguard, Conan from doing a lot of stuff in the ring. And it is going to be a fun match having these 4 talented tag team wrestlers in the same ring inside of a cage. Next, we got a unintentionally hilarious segment. We got Sami Callihan. By the way, I told you guys at the preview of the Slammiversary show that Sami Callihan had a weird looking head. And I told you his shape was weird. And look at that. He looks hideous. So he was, at like a barber shop in order to obviously fix his whole thing. He went to the bathroom and there was a guy like with long hair, and Sami Callihan started to look, hey, why are you looking at me? Tell me that I'm good looking. So obviously the guy didn't know what to say. He was just peeing, right? So Sami and his crew decided to take a barber shop, razor or something like that. The blade, right? I don't know what the name of that. The trimmer, right? Barbershop trimmer. So they decided to cut his hair off, part of his hair. This guy, first of all, this segment was good. It served the purpose of, adding the layer of being paranoid to Sami Callihan. The other thing is that The guy with the long hair. This guy is a MVP. He let his, you know, hair get caught for a segment on a wrestling show, and he's not like a wrestler or something like that. I think he works for a crew backstage or something along those lines. So this guy is a MVP, believe it or not, one of those unsung heroes, because not a lot of people are gonna put long hair on the line just for a little bit of a segment on a wrestling show. So that was good. That was good. Next, we got the main event of the night. A rematch, a Slammiversary 16 rematch. We got the challenger this time around, Sydal, versus the new X Division champion, Brian Cage. Good match. They did a lot of different things that they didn't obviously use at Slammiversary. Obviously, the pace was a little bit slower because obviously they were tired. They're not matching unless you're Brian Cage. But the match was good, about average. Just as their match at Slammiversary, it was about above average type of match. About my expectation when it comes down to the cleanliness and how exciting that match was. But at the end, we already knew the finish of this one. Brian Cage hit Sydal with the Drew Claw, and that was it. That was it. So we close the show with Brian Cage at the top of the Impact Wrestling world. So let me take a look at the chat room before we go. So we got Mr. Goodlow. So thank you a lot for joining me on the chat room and being at the first chat room, because this is the second live stream that I did. The first one went to turn heel on me once again. So my bars and my internet went die. So I decided, hey, I'm not gonna even mess up with this. This is gonna look not that good when you see that on the replay. Also, we got Coolman 952. He's one of the loyals around here. So he said, pretty decent show tonight. I agree. It was not the best show like ever or anything like that, but it was a good Fallout show. It served its purpose, and it wasn't that wrestling heavy. And I think the idea behind it was, first, let's try to pop a rating after our big pay-per-view. And second of all, I think people and Impact Wrestling fans might be burned out of wrestling, and we don't want to do another, beat down and beat them up over the head with a big, wrestling match or something like along those lines. Also, we got Jorge. He's the one of my guys from the Impact Bodega podcast, and he's a Pee Wee ref, calling kid referee Pee Wee. Oh boy, I guess that guy gets bullied around by all his coworkers and stuff like that. So let me change this for a second. Let me do in conclusions. In conclusion, my rate for this one would be like a 6.75, something along those lines. It was not a bad. It was a pretty decent show, but it was not a good show into itself. But once you put it into context, it was a more than a good show. It served his purpose, right? Second thing that I need to say, if this is the first time you're here on this channel, make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to do couple of more Impact Wrestling videos a week, so the more people I got obviously watching my videos, the more time I could tell myself that I could use for making Impact Wrestling related content. If you are a fan of music, if you're a metalhead or something like that, I will highly suggest you to check out my Impact wrestling theme of Pentagon. That was my guitar cover. I did it like a week ago. It was really good, especially if you like metal. You're gonna enjoy that. Will enjoy Pentagon going metal for the time being. Also, I'm thinking about, this is not stay, for the moment written in stone or something like that, but there might be teachers coming quite soon once I reach my second year here on YouTube. I'm gonna put them most likely on Streamlabs. So I will let you know once all the things are set up. I'm aiming at doing at least 2 to 3 designs, doing one like more wrestling type of design, doing one for the metalheads who watch my show, and do also another one for the hip hop heads that watch my show. Therefore, if you are just like a music fan, you could wear my t-shirt, but without looking like a wrestling dork. That is my goal, right? I don't want none of my subscribers looking like wrestling dorks. So it is time to take a look at those designs and do something cool for the people who take time of their day to watch me ramble on the internet and talking about something that I am quite passionate about, in pro wrestling. So I guess that is it for me. Thank you so much for listening all the way through. You are the guys that help this channel grow by staying with me all this time. So please share this out if you enjoy it. There's gonna be like a playlist and stuff like that, and a round bottom, so you can subscribe if you hit that bottom. That's it for me. Goodbye and thanks for